Welcome back, and welcome if this is your first time here. I'm April, this is Gigi in Tennessee, and I'm so glad you're here. A few weeks ago, I made a video on blackberry brandy, and I reserved the pulp. And I asked you guys what you wanted to see me make with the pulp. A few people commented pie, and a few people commented oat bars. So I made both. Here you go. I hope you enjoy. This is what they look like. We're gonna make a couple of goodies. First up is an original blackberry sweet dough pie. This is a traditional Cajun classic. This is just a little bit of milk, approximately a third, maybe closer to a half a cup of milk. And to that, I'm gonna add just a little bit of vanilla, or a lot of vanilla. Most Cajuns don't follow recipe, they go by eyesight and consistency of what they know and have learned from usually grandparents. We're just gonna let this milk set aside. Now this is flour. I'm using organic whole wheat flour. You can use any type of flour you want. And to that, I'm gonna add a pinch of salt. And I'm also gonna add a little bit of baking powder in between a teaspoon, teaspoon and a half, somewhere around there. Now we are gonna sift that. The first thing we're gonna do is put some butter in here. It's about a half a stick of butter. So we have butter. Now this is one thing that I do measure out. You want 2 ounces of lard. I don't have lard today, so I'm using Crisco, and I'm actually using the buttered flavored Crisco. I much prefer to use lard. I just don't have any. So I'm making do, using what I have, and about a cup of sugar. We're gonna go ahead and put that in. While that's mixing, I'm gonna go ahead and sift to this. This is about 2.5 cups. Usually when I make sweet dough pies, I do 2 at a time, and I do about 5 cups of flour for 2, so about 2.5 cups for 1. And I know that this bowl holds about 3 cups if you fill it to the top, so I am assuming this is about 2.5 cups. This took no time at all. It's mixed up really well. I don't skip this step, I do sift it. So now we've sifted the flour, so we'll add this in a little bit, but first we're gonna add the egg. I use 1 egg per pie. Now that that's been mixed up really well, I'm gonna put in a little bit of flour. A little bit of the milk. A little bit more flour, a little bit more milk. Alternate like that. A little bit of flour, a little bit more milk. That's the last of the flour. Now we'll add the last of the milk. It, and I'll use the spatula to scoop it down. Alright friends, and this is the consistency. This is what it looks like. Took the dough out, put it in a little bit of flour, cut off a section so I can use this for the strips on the top. So this is what I'm going to use for the actual pie. Now if you find it's difficult to work with and you're not making the pie right away, you can refrigerate this for 30 minutes, an hour, a couple of hours, all the way up to a day or 2. I'm gonna try to make this pie now, so I'm not gonna refrigerate it, so it will look a little bit different, but I'm gonna go ahead and work it. As you can see, this is what it looks like, and I'm gonna put it in this pie dish. All right, so I flattened it out, put a little bit of olive oil at the bottom of the pan. Now we're gonna flip this and put it in here. This is how thick it is. This is a container of cinnamon, powdered sugar, and nutmeg. And I keep this, and I often use it for stuff like this. You can sprinkle the sides if you want, put as little or as much as you want. Traditionally, if I was making a blackberry pie, I would cook the blackberries down with sugar, a little bit of lemon juice, and cornstarch. But this has already fermented with sugar, and I'm gonna do it differently because this is the second use basically for these blackberries. So I'm thinking 4 scoops of blackberries. 1, 2, 3, 4 scoops. these fermented berries. Now they're cold because they've been sitting in the refrigerator. To this, I'm gonna add just a splash of lemon juice. I am gonna add about a tablespoon of cornstarch, but I'm not gonna add it straight to the berries. I'm gonna dissolve it first. And instead of using water, I am gonna use almond milk. I like the flavors of almonds and berries together. This is powdered sugar mixed with cinnamon and nutmeg. This is probably about 2 tablespoons. It had tons of sugar in here, but most of it fermented out. And then I'm gonna add this mixture. It's not a lot, just enough. Okay, so this is what the pie looks like. And I just used that little piece to cut into strips, and I'm gonna lay them on top. And it's okay if they break into pieces. You can cut off some of these edges to have just a little bit more, however you want. It's the beauty of a homemade pie. A homemade pie or cake, it's supposed to be a one-of-a-kind, and what makes it a one-of-a-kind is its imperfections. You can take your time and make this a lot prettier, but my family doesn't care. We Cajuns only care what it tastes like. Now it's going in the oven. All right, friends, here we have it. Here's the blackberry pie straight out the oven. Delicious, authentic, homemade sweet dough Cajun blackberry pie. This is so delicious. It doesn't matter what it looks like. I promise you, you're gonna love every bite. This pie will disappear quickly. While it's cooling, we're gonna make another mess and use the rest of these blackberries. We are gonna make some Oat Bars with the blackberry filling. This is about a half a cup of butter. I've melted it, and to that, I'm gonna add about 3.5 cups of oat. Again, I didn't quite measure. I just scooped a bowl full. We'll put some of that, and this is about 1.5 cups, maybe 2 cups of a combination of coconut flour and almond flour. You could just pour it all in, but I'm just doing it this way. And this is about 2 cups of brown sugar. Pinch of salt, or a big pinch of salt, cinnamon. Now we're gonna mix this up. All right, I'm using a fork, but the best thing to do is get your hands in there. Grab one of my gloves. To this, I'm gonna add a spoon of baking soda. Next, we're gonna put some olive oil in the bottom of this pan, but I will pour liberally. Again, I'm gonna put on one of my food safety gloves. I know I had linked these on Amazon, but I'll buy these at Sam's or Costco, and you get 4 or 5 packs of 500 for $8 to $12, depending on the season or the sale. But one pack lasts me well over a year. What I'm gonna do, put all these empty dirty bowls here. I have made a mess. Typically I clean my kitchen in between each thing, but not always when baking. I did not do it today, so I have the mess everywhere. Okay, we're gonna put half of this in here. I'm gonna put another scoop. Making the base. All right, now that we've got half of it in here, I'm gonna get this in the oven at 350. For 20 minutes. So I baked this for about 20 minutes. You want to let this cool at least to the touch. I'm able to touch it right now. My hands are super clean. Just washed them. It's warm, but it's not super hot. Now, you could let this cool overnight. I'm kind of on a time crunch, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this next step. This is the rest of our blackberry mixture with the condensed milk. Now, this is coconut condensed milk, so it's almost like blackberries and cream. So spread that mixture on there, and as you can see, it's a pretty thick layer of filling. Now all we're gonna do is take the remainder of this and sprinkle it on top. Go ahead and get a glove. Use my hands again. All right, now we're gonna get these back in the oven for another 20-25 minutes. And just put it in the oven while this is baking for 25 minutes. I'm gonna get this kitchen cleaned up. Here is the blackberry oat bars. I'm gonna let them cool overnight and I will cut them in the morning. Okay, so it's the next morning and I just cut into these blackberry oat bars. Let's just bite into it. It is so delicious. Yummy. The great thing is this has fermented blackberries in it, which is great for your gut health. So you get double the uses from the blackberries. You first use them to make this delicious brandy. And now this is great gut health. This is like sauerkraut, but tastes a lot sweeter. There's some sugar in here too. Anyway, yummy deliciousness. Let's cut into this pie. Okay. Can see what it looks like. I'm gonna put some of this cream on the side. This is leftover from the last video I did. I have just a pinch of this cinnamon left. Sprinkle that. Let's taste this pie. It's so good.
All right, guys, until next time, bye.